What is up? It's a Figure Hunter, and today we're going to do a review for lock laces, the official no-tie shoelaces. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please consider subscribing for more. This is a small video in a series of more obscure products that I have tested and really actually found to like that I'm just releasing this week because Black Friday, and these are actually inexpensive options you could get for the athletic person in your life. Now, what are the benefits of these? And we're gonna look at them in, like running shoes. We're gonna look at them in my Metcon 7s, as well as we're gonna look at them in work dress shoes. I'm gonna give you my solution for those because I've been testing these for actually like 4 or 5 months. I just haven't done the review. And they replace your shoes. They're basically stretchy. There's a little clamp down, and I'll give you a solution for how to make your work shoes look professional and still make it functional. Plus, I'm gonna tell you that this, and maybe I'll show it in the video, it's the Zomake. It's just a cheap Amazon shoehorn, but this is the best shoehorn on Amazon because I tested like 6 because I just wanted one that was good and go-to. And we'll talk about sort of why there's a need for a shoehorn in the pros and cons section in the summary later. But what are the benefits of the lock laces? Obviously, the benefits are you don't have to tie your shoes. The benefits are it's a more continuously snug across your entire foot, and as your foot expands or gets hot or whatever, the laces have the ability to expand with it. Sort of one size fits all, and they're lifetime guaranteed. Plus, they're relatively affordable. So it usually is a 3-pack for 3 different shoes would get you for $30, or you can buy them for $10. But right now they're on sale for 3-pack for $20, so that brings them down to like $7 or $6 and something cents. So they have been really functional for lifters, for running shoes, for my Metcons. I mean, I've worn these in my CrossFit shoes for every day for like 4 months, and then for actual work shoes other than the reason you need the shoehorn. So let's look at them all hands-on, and then we're gonna come back and talk about pros and cons. All right, so this is a simple package. So you have the regular, or the Pro Series, and the regular lock laces. They both have these little clips in here, which we're gonna see in a second. They have 2 strings, and you're just gonna basically relace your shoes with them, cut the ends to match the length that you want, and then snap these little clasps on the end of them. One size fits all. It gives you instructions. There's an instruction video online. And this is the shoehorn. And I say the shoehorn, I mean the shoehorn. I bought a set of 2 for like $14. Zomake. I'll put a link in the description below for these because it really is the best that I've tried. So how do they look on the shoes? So here's my Metcon 7. So as you can see, even when it's tugged tight, so that's the little end clasp. This is how it's worn over 4 months of use. So you still see some burrs, maybe a little bit, but the shoe itself is worn, so no big deal. So you can see that when it's laying down, it's not that long. You want this length here to probably come out to about there, so that when you get done with your workout and you want to stretch your shoe out, you have plenty of room. One of the things that I've found is that if you tighten the front a lot, it actually stays tight, so you can't get the looseness to creep its way back down. So the shoe stays actually pretty snug. Now, when you're in the workout, so basically I use the shoehorn to get it on because the shoe is relatively so tight in here that you have to use a shoehorn. So then you're gonna tighten it, and then you just basically push the little button, or you don't even really need to push the button, you can just pull it down, and you're good to go. And a lot of times, if you didn't have this little special thing, you would swap it under, or you can just let it flap. It has not bothered me one bit to let it flap around. But when you're going, it does feel nice because it does feel like it's this snug fit all the way across because the elasticity distributes the snug fit across the entire lace line for the most part. I mean, it's not a perfect science. And so that is great. So this, again, is too short so that when I loosen it, this is my first mistake. It was my first trial, and I just thought, oh, I'm just going to cut extra length off. Didn't realize I would really probably appreciate it. So what I did next is with my running shoes, or these are really just my going around shoes. These really aren't even like my running shoes. So here you have like a ton of length. So if I'm wearing these, I'm snug. I got like more because I was like overcompensating. But you just, again, if I go out on a bike ride, I just flap it there. It doesn't cause a problem. It's not a big deal whatsoever. But when I get done, I can take that and I can loosen it like way up so that it has more slack. You can see as I'm doing that though, it's still holding this front section, which again is why it's kind of a little bit hard to get on without a shoehorn or without a tug to get your foot through this, because as you're putting your foot in here, it's putting pressure here, and if this area stays or remains tight, it's going to be a little bit harder to get in. So there you have it on that. Now, here's what's actually a cool solution that I have really liked. So these are the laces for the dress shoes. It did come with one of those little clasps on the end, and I thought there is no way in hell I'm gonna wear that with like the clasp on these two like that. So what I did is I basically just tied a loop. I put them on my feet. I tied it, you know, made it sort of as snug as I kind of would like it. And then I tied a knot and I just crimped it down as hard as I could. And to this day, and this is, again, these are probably 2.5 months later, it hasn't loosened. They've stayed that tight. I didn't put any super glue in there. I thought, well, maybe I'll have to just put a couple drops of super glue just to hold it. It hasn't been a problem. Now, I burned the ends. If you look closely, I mean, they're not perfect, but they also haven't unraveled. But in order for the shoe to feel tight, like snug, like a balanced snug on your foot, these will be tighter for your work shoes. And again, enter your shoehorn, because I just keep these shoehorn by there. One thing that you'll notice if you were putting this on, you actually have to hold the tongue, because if not, the tongue can get bunched up in the front. So you have to hold the tongue, put this, you know, and then you just cram your foot in there. If you hold the tongue even just a little bit, it doesn't even take a lot of pressure to hold the tongue, everything goes in fine. And then you're off to the race. So it's somewhat of an adjustment. I guess I would say it was sort of annoying at first because it just took some getting used to, but at the same time, they look exactly like the regular shoelaces, but they are more flexible, more breathable, and a little bit just more comfortable throughout the day. You don't have any adjustability here, but just more comfortable, and then you're just off to going. So let's talk about the pros and cons in some. All right, so there you have it. I mean, there's the sort of simple solution for how you can make them actually functional and visually equivalent for work shoes, which actually is pretty awesome, as well as obviously all of your different workout shoes that you could possibly own. So there's tons of colors. So on the pros side, they work with all types of shoes. I mean, you can sort of make your whole life, you know, no-tie shoelaceville. And there's tons of different colors, tons of different styles. You can mix and match. And right now they're relatively cheap at $6.90 per shoelace pair. And they do help your shoe to stay more snugly around your foot, and it's easily adjustable to make it a little more snug or a little more loose. Now, what are the cons? I mean, the cons are if you over tighten towards the front, sometimes it'll hold that tightness and it'll sort of streamline the tightness up the top, because I have had to use a shoehorn to get my shoes on. Now, part of that is because of what I showed you on the Metcon 7 that I made it too short, so there's not enough slack to be able to loosen it up. But then if you have a lot of slack, then you get this thing where it's a longer string or a longer, you know, bit towards the top, which I don't actually find problematic, but it's just, you know, another sort of issue. So it can be hard to get your foot in there, and that's why you need the shoehorn. So I have a shoehorn by my dress shoes, and that obviously, that solution, you have to leave them sort of fixed in place, because you have to keep it sort of tight in order so that when your foot gets in the shoe, it feels snug. So you have to have a shoehorn for that. So a little overly snug, so not just sort of like the simple, oh, comfy, you just slide them in, because they're so sturdy that they have a little bit extra snug. So my recommendation with these would be to get a shoehorn. My recommendation would be to opt for just more length, because it really is not a problem, because you're going to tuck it under the front there. It's not going to be an issue if it's just extra long, so that you can open up the shoe and get your foot in more easily. And, you know, that's my review. That is the Shoelaces no-tie shoelace across all different types of shoes. It's the Fit Gear Hunter. Thanks so much for watching.